Spots.
We get the idea. You're looking for your lost dog Spots. Does anybody know him?
No.
I've lost all of my pride.
Spots, if he's alive, may very well be living even at this moment as a captive prisoner.
Hello everyone, I'm here, Grandma's there, Grandma's back in Austin, I'm still in Singapore, so we're having to do our review via FaceTime again. Hopefully things work out for you. You can see our review pretty well. Today we have another movie to talk to you about, which is Isle of Dogs, which is directed by Wes Anderson, whose films are a little strange. Most of his films are, with regular human actors and such, but he does animations from time to time. He did Fantastic Mr. Fox like almost 10 years ago now, and now he's made Isle of Dogs, which is a stop-motion animation film. In the film, all the humans speak Japanese. It's set in Japan, but all of the dogs, who are the focus of the film, all speak English. And the story is basically that a Japanese politician, for various reasons which we won't go into, has instituted a law which bans all dogs, and all the dogs have been shipped off to basically what's called Trash Island, where people send all their trash. So all the dogs are sent there too, and they're having to try and survive by eating all the trash and such. But one time, the ward of the mayor comes to the island to try to find his dog because he misses his dog. And the majority of the film is him trying to find his dog. And what did you think of the film, Grandma?
It was very interesting. The animation was interesting. The characters, I particularly liked the characters of the chief dogs. Of course, the main dog's name was Chief, and then he was leading a group of dogs, and it was interesting how the movie makers gave each of the dogs a kind of character, and
personality.
A personality, right? You got to know these dogs, and fortunately, since they spoke English, we were able to tune in on what was happening to them. It was very interesting story. The problem that they faced was interesting, having been outlawed. It was against the law to have a dog, or in this case, be a dog. Here you are on the trash island. The story progressed in a way, that you got to, you were cheering for the underdog. Imagine that, the underdog. And they were worthy of our support in their efforts to get back to their owners and
Right.
the people that loved them. What did you think of it? You're a Wes Anderson expert.
No, I'm not an expert. I have seen some of his films, but I frankly have not cared for any of his films.
Including this one?
Including this one. Again, I think they're very interesting to look at, and I've always been very hopeful that I'm going to like these films, but in every case I end up being disappointed. The visuals of the film are very impressive, are very fascinating, and you may want to go see it just for the visuals, just to see the style of the film, which is very fascinating. It's really based on a lot of different types of animation, but again, the style is based on this sort of Japanese popular culture of back in the 50s and the 60s, and it's I've seen enough of it to recognize it. I'm not any sort of an expert on it, but again, watching it is very, very fascinating, and it's very interesting, and it keeps you, you're constantly being surprised by the new things that you see and the way he's able to animate it. But the story itself is not very involving, and again, it's animated, and it's, I think, meant to be a comedy, but it's not very funny. Again, I mean, the jokes are very, very low key, and they're just to the point of not being really funny. And I just did not get into the story at all, and I did not find it entertaining at all. Again, the style is interesting. You're not going to see this style anywhere else in any other film today, and so for that I give him a lot of credit, but again, I would not recommend this film. What would you say, Grandma?
I tend to agree with your assessment there. I was surprised when we got to the people, the Japanese faces,
right.
So expressionless. That was strange. But you're right about the story. It was not engaging. It wasn't all that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did cheer for Chief and his buddies. I wanted them to the story to come out well, but
the dogs have been wronged. There's no
That's right.
debating that. I mean, you're going to pull for the dogs in this film, but
no matter what, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. This film was well made, and the animation was very interesting, but it wasn't, the movie itself wasn't that interesting. So I wouldn't recommend it.
So where are your thumbs on this one, Grandma?
I don't have any thumbs for it. I have, this is okay if you want to go see the film. Just don't expect to be overjoyed with it. It's just
got your sideways thumbs going.
Just sideways thumbs, right?
Okay.
Sorry, can't recommend it. What about you?
Well, thank you for going to it anyways, Grandma.
I love to go to movies, you know that.
Okay.